Hello friends, welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to learn about proton pump inhibitors. I, Professor Manoj Shinde, KK College of Pharmacy, Nasik, welcomes to all of you. The content for this session, the proton pump inhibitor, clinically used proton pump inhibitors, their mechanism of actions, pharmacokinetics, adverse effects, medicinal uses and therapeutic uses of PPIs. So very first of all, what is proton pump inhibitors? Proton pump inhibitors are a group of drugs whose main action is pronounced and long-lasting reduction of the gastric acid production. They are the most potent inhibitors of acid secretions available. These drugs are among the most widely sold drugs in the world and are generally considered effective. A vast majority of these drugs are benzimidazole derivatives, but promising new research indicates that imidazopyridine derivatives are also helpful for the treatment. There are high doses of these PPIs causes possible increased risk for the bone fractures. So let's see what is proton pump first of all. If we look at here, this is the stomach lining and the parietal cells are to be present in this stomach linings. So a proton pump is an integral membrane protein in the parietal cell of the stomachs. Pumps proton into the stomachs. By using ATP, an acidic hydrogen ion replaces a non-acidic potassium ion. So as usual, it is a membrane protein. It is enzymatic in nature. Most of the time this proton pump is activated by gastrin, sometimes it is activated by histamines and acetylcholine. The proton pump inhibitors are histamine blockers and they reduce the secretion of hydrochloric acids. So these are the prodrugs that activate in acidic environment. After absorption, the active metabolite diffuses into parietal cells and accumulates in the acidic secretory canaliculi of the parietal cells. The clinically useful proton pump inhibitors are like omeprazole, lansoprazole, esomeprazole, pantoprazole, rabeprazole. So what is the mechanism of action of these proton pump inhibitors? If we look at the normal secretion mechanisms, in case of this parietal cell, if we look at here, whenever there is an activation of this proton pump, what happens? There is a production of carbonic acid takes place and there is a release of proton takes place and bicarbonate exchange with the chloride ion takes place. As soon as the proton pump activate by the gradient of this proton, what happens here? The proton get exchanged with the potassium ion, that is acidic proton get exchanged with the non-acidic potassium ion, and the chloride transports from the parietal cell to the gastric lumen area where the hydrochloric acid is generated and the hydrochloric acid is released in the gastric lumen. So this is normal gastric acid secretion mechanism. Now it depends upon normally the gastrin, then acetylcholine level of the neurons, as well as whenever there is release of histamine due to the allergic reaction, that time also there is a cyclic AMP dependent potassium, this proton pump activated. And hydrochloric acid secretion takes place. This is about the gastric acid secretion mechanism. Now let's say there are three ways of inhibiting the gastric acid secretions. First, by using H2 blockers, as well as second, muscarinic antagonist, that will block the neuronal secretion, neuronal stimulation of acetylcholine based gastric acid secretions. And last one, that is a proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole. They are directly inhibits the proton pump activity. So blocking the proton potassium ATPase pump, the consumption of food stimulates the acid secretions, and acid secretion activates these proton pump inhibitors. The activated proton pump inhibitor is then converted to a sulfonamide and in the acidic secretory canaliculi of the parietal cell. The sulfonamide interacts covalently with the sulfahydryl groups in the proton pump and make complex, thereby irreversibly inhibiting the activities. Like this. Here the omeprazole in acidic environment, that will be through the three steps. It is converted to the sulfonamide intermediate, which will then combine with this sulfahydryl group of this proton potassium ATPase pump and thereby form an enzyme inhibitor complex, and that by this way that will inhibit this proton potassium ATPase pump. So there are different proton pump inhibitors. Here the basic requirement for this structure, that is a benzimidazole moiety and pyridine moiety, which is to be connected with the most of time that is the methyl sulfonyl moieties. And by making the different substituents on the pyridine as well as the benzimidazole ring, we can design different proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole. In omeprazole, the pyridine substitute, if you look at here, that will at the position R1 and R3 there with a methyl group, while at the fourth position of the para-nitrogen of this pyridine there is a methoxy group, that is R2, while benzimidazole substituent is the methoxy group and the connecting moiety is a sulfonyl methyl moiety. So that will give the structure of omeprazole. Likewise, we can make different changes in the substitutions and we can design a lansoprazole, pantoprazole, rabeprazole thiether, esomeprazole, or omeprazole. These are the different derivatives of the proton pump inhibitors. So these are the structures of these proton pump inhibitors: omeprazole, lansoprazole, pantoprazole, esomeprazole, and rabeprazole. Now, how to memorize a drug structure? If we took an example of omeprazole, so this O stands for this methoxy, while the azole stands for the 1H benzimidazole, and MEPR here the PR stands for the pyridine tolyl, while the ME stands for the methyl sulfonyl group. In this way, by using a name of the proton pump inhibitor, we can easily remember the structure of these proton pump inhibitors. So the IUPAC name, if you look at the structures, the IUPAC name of this compound is, that is 6-methoxy. That is a 6-methoxy on the 1H benzimidazole here, and there is substituent at the second position. That is this first, second position here. Second position substituents is that there is this sulfonyl methyl group, which is further substituted with the pyridine tolyl, and this pyridine tolyl having again 3 more substituents. That is, there is a 3,5-dimethyl and 4-methoxy pyridine tolyl on this methyl sulfonyl. And this way we can give an IUPAC name like, that is 6-methoxy to 4-methoxy 3,5-dimethyl pyridine tolyl methyl sulfonyl 1H benzimidazole. So this is a methyl sulfonyl 1H benzimidazole. That is a 6-methoxy methyl sulfonyl 1H benzimidazole, which is methyl sulfonyl is substituted with the 4-methoxy 3,5-dimethyl pyridine tolyl. So this way we can memorize these proton pump inhibitors. Now let us see the structural activity relationship of these proton pump inhibitors. Most of these substituted pyridine rings, substituted benzimidazole moiety, and the methyl sulfonyl connecting moiety to be essential part for the biological effect. Biological activity and chemical stability largely depends upon their substitution pattern. The pyridine substitution compared with the imeprazole, 4-methoxy group in the pyridine. This is a 4-methoxy group in the pyridine. Increases the biological activity by enhancing the nucleophilicity of the pyridine nitrogen atom. A 4-fluoro-alkoxy substitution combining apophilicity and electron demanding properties results strong inhibitory activity. In case of benzimidazole substitution and unsaturated benzimidazole moiety shows irreversible gastric proton pump inhibitions. Substitution by either by electron demanding group increases the activity, while the substitution by electron accepting group decreases the activity. Now, let us see the different adverse effects of these proton pump inhibitors. There is a common adverse effect like nausea, diarrhea, abdominal pain, fatigue, and dizziness. Because of the body uses gastric acid to release the vitamin B12 from the food particles, decreased vitamin B12 absorption may occur with the long-term use of these proton pump inhibitors that may lead to the vitamin B12 deficiency. There are few more adverse effects like proton pump inhibitors may cause dependency and by increasing the gastric symptoms if they are discontinued in case of GERD type of treatments. However, 12-week PPI therapy had no impact on this calcium, vitamin D or bone metabolism in healthy young males. Long-term PPI therapy also interferes with the zinc absorption and the zinc body stores. The medicinal uses of these proton pump inhibitors. Most of these proton pump inhibitors are useful in the dyspepsia, peptic ulcer diseases, the GERD, that is the gastric esophageal reflux diseases, laryngopharyngeal reflux, stress gastritis prevention, and Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, that is a condition where there is a gastric secreting tumor or hyperplasia of the islet cells of the pancreas, which causes the overproduction of the gastric acid that results in the recurrent peptic ulcer, that is to be known as Zollinger-Ellison syndromes. So these are the medicinal uses of these proton pump inhibitors. There are more therapeutic uses, that is to treat the gastroesophageal reflux diseases. Then lansoprazole is a FDA approved for the treatment and prevention of the recurrence of the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug associated gastric ulcer in the patient who continue NSAID use. In children, omeprazole is safe and effective for the treatment of erosive esophagitis. So, up till this we have seen the proton pump inhibitors. What is proton pump inhibitors, their mechanism of actions, the gastric acid secretion mechanisms, then structural activity relationships, adverse effect and therapeutic use. In the next session, we will see synthesis of different antihistaminic agents and proton pump inhibitors, and then we will see different MCQs and questions that is related with these antihistaminic agents. Thank you.